Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Tech Talk. I'm your host, Jeff Hootselle. I'm the Chief Cloud Officer at AuditMax. If you guys know and you've tuned into the show before, we're always talking to technology leaders, folks that are doing really interesting stuff in the space. And today's no different. We've actually got a great guest today on a fantastic topic. We've been talking a lot lately about IoT and the future of robotics. And our guest today is really an expert in that field who's going to have a lot of good stuff to share with us. So welcome Matthew Chang to the show. Hey, Matthew, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks.
Yeah. Hey, Matthew, so I know you're here in Jacksonville, Florida. We've obviously talked a number of times, but for folks that aren't familiar with your company, with Chang Industrial, maybe give them a little bit of insight into what you guys do and what you're all about.
Sure thing. Chang Industrial is a boutique engineering firm. We're a small firm, and we are focused on really sunrise industry, advanced robotics, and artificial intelligence and IoT. So our main focus is getting practical application of those technology sectors into advanced manufacturing and e-commerce.
Man, so those are great areas of technology right now, right? They're some of the most hot and up and coming markets, that are out there. I'm curious, how did you wind up getting started in that space?
When I graduated from Georgia Tech, I spent 10 years as kind of a typical engineer in the design and build of factories. So I didn't choose that space. My company chose it for me, and I became an expert in the engineering of manufacturing facilities and e-commerce facilities. And when I went to start my own company and I started my own entrepreneurial journey, I got some pretty cool advice from a wise old friend of mine who happens to live in Penang, Malaysia. And what he told me was, look for a sunrise industry. So when I did that, I looked back at him and I said, you mean in solar? And he laughed at me and said, no, you're too American. Think more Asian. I mean, an industry where it's just emerging, and for your entire career, the sun will burn hot on your back. And so as I launched Chang Industrial, we endeavored to be in very experimental, bleeding edge technologies. And that quickly took us to our niche in autonomy and IoT.
No, that's great. It's pretty good advice, I think. With the expansion we're seeing and the growth in that marketplace, it's certainly going to be a good place to be at. Talk a little bit about some of the projects you guys have worked on as an organization, what types of things you're involved in from kind of a practical application standpoint.
We are focused on really smart manufacturing systems, and that the future of smart manufacturing systems is IoT. It's the idea that everything is connected, everything's communicating, and that the big data that's generated from the smart manufacturing systems is actually useful to companies and humans and operators, and that it adds to the manufacturing process, both from a responsiveness to consumer demands and also a serving the needs of the business to lower costs and be more flexible. That's one area. And the second area is really in autonomous technologies. So we have been very blessed to have great partners and great clients, and we've been able to deploy the largest fleet of autonomous vehicles in the world under a single fleet manager. And that happens to be in an advanced manufacturing and e-commerce facility. And the autonomous vehicles, they move packages, they don't move people. So it's a bunch of autonomous vehicles moving around, performing tasks that really lighten the load on humans and help U.S. companies manufacture at a cost that's lower than anything you can do overseas.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So in that project in particular you guys worked on, what's kind of the nuts and bolts behind that? Is that really does each device, each unit work independently on its own? Are they connected in some form or fashion? Are they interacting with humans? What does that look like?
Great question. So I think the answer is all of the above. First and foremost, the point of the technology is to enable humans. That's the point. A lot of folks, when they think of automation, they think of replacing humans. And certainly there's an element of certain repetitive tasks can be performed safer and better by machines than by humans in some situations. But really the point is enabling a team of humans to manufacture and distribute goods faster, smarter, with better safety and better ergonomics. So what we really focus on first and foremost is the collaboration between the robotics and the human. That human to robotic interface is paramount. We also want to get rid of the barriers in facilities that separate technology from humans, and we want them to commingle. That means we have to upgrade all of our technology with advanced sensing so that the technology can work safely in and around humans in a collaborative environment. That coins the term cobotics, is collaborative robotics. And then once we do that, we expect all of our robotics to be smart enough to make decisions with local autonomy. So we embed all the robotics with AI and a pretty robust amount of industrial computing so that these devices and these robotics can make decisions on their own within a set of parameters established by the operator. So they're responsible for accomplishing missions by themselves. And then finally, they all need to work together as a team with the humans and the other robots. And therefore, we use really middleware and cloud level technology in software that helps orchestrate the priorities and helps the burden sharing between the robots.
No, it's fascinating. So, I mean, if you kind of look into your crystal ball and you think about this marketplace, obviously you mentioned you guys are kind of on the bleeding edge and doing some really innovative stuff. When you think and you look out a couple of years or 3-4 years in the future, what do you think that looks like? What is that for the future of robotics in this space?
I think there's a couple technologies that have kind of come online really all at the same time. And so when you take the emergence and proliferation of technologies, you introduce the lowering of cost so that the technologies are more practical for everyone to afford and to implement. And then you look at kind of societal impacts such as COVID and the changes that's making to workforces and supply chains. It's really the perfect time for everything to come together. So the major technology influences are amazing and reliable batteries at a great cost. So just about everything we're doing now is powered by lithium ion, just like your phone. It's the ability for robotics to understand when it needs to go to a power source and charge. So our robots know when it's time to take a break, and they take short breaks anywhere from 2 minutes to 10 minutes to just top up on power and keep that battery life optimal so that they can run on a 24/7 basis. And then the next piece is communications. There are just so many types of communication available to us now between radio and Wi-Fi, 5G, and ultra wideband and some low power IoT communication channels, that with all of this communication, we can really optimize how our robotics communicate with the world around them and the infrastructure around them. And then finally, the emergence of cloud computing is really an unlock. And as you know, Jeff, there's just so many types of cloud. What we see most common is really an on-premise cloud, but it's the idea that we've got some robustness and resiliency in our software infrastructure that allows the operation to keep going no matter what's happening on the factory floor.
Yeah, it's awesome stuff. I mean, we're so glad you guys are here in Jacksonville and pushing this kind of technology, and we'd love to get the word out and share with folks about the things you're doing. Matthew, if folks want to learn more about the company and get in touch with you, where's the best place for them to contact you?
You can just visit our website. It's pretty simple, changindustrial.com. So that's we've got lots of content there for thought leadership, and there's contact information available. We're also excited that we have a really close and exciting partnership with Pulse Integration. They're a leading technology integrator and software developer. And so you can check out their website at pulse-si.com. And so at either of those locations, you can get a hold of me. And I'm easy to find on LinkedIn or any of those places.
Yeah, that's awesome. Matthew, it's fascinating stuff. You guys are doing some amazing things out there. We love hearing about it and hearing all the new innovations you're making. So keep up that entrepreneurial spirit. We appreciate it.
All right. Thanks so much, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
You got it. Hey, thank you guys for tuning in for another episode of Tech Talk. If you guys ever want to see more of our episodes, you can go to auditmax.com and find the library of episodes there. We'll see you next time.